Am I the asshole for robbing my wife's affair partner, which has now led to his divorce? I, 32, have been married to my soon-to-be ex-wife, 30, Madison, for 4 years. We are currently in counseling, but it is not going to work. About a year ago, I found out she was having an affair by coming home to their clothes in our living room and sounds coming from our bedroom.
Oh, shit.
I lost it. I was getting my cricket bat out of the front closet when I stopped to think about consequences. I did not want to go to jail. I instead took all of their clothes and left quietly. I went to a friend's house, but not before throwing all of the clothes in a McDonald's garbage can. I turned off my phone and got shit-faced with my buddy. His wife hosed us off in the morning. After I turned my phone back on, I had dozens of calls and texts from Madison. First, scared because she got my updated flight information, then upset that I hadn't called her to let her know I was going to be coming home early, then freaked out that the house had been broken into, then crazy because she figured out it was me. They got more and more deranged as the calls went on. The guy she was with is 5 inches shorter than me and about 60 pounds lighter.
I love how you included that.
So if he had taken my clothes, it would have been obvious that they were not his. He ended up calling his friend to go get his spare key from his house. Unfortunately for him, his wife smelled a rat and followed his friend back to my house, where she saw him leaving in oversized clothes.
Whoa.
Long story short, she took pictures and she had evidence of his infidelity, which caused their prenup to be canceled, which cost him a lot of money. It is all one big giant shit show. It took a couple of months, but my wife convinced me to try and forgive her. We started going to counseling and we were working our way through it until recently. In a counseling session, she said that I was wrong to steal his wallet, phone, and car keys. She said that his divorce is costing him a lot of money and that I should have dealt with it in a more mature manner and that it is my fault.
I'm sorry. What? No. That's like the least he could have done, bestie. He's a way better man than most people. Like, he fully could have grabbed that bat.
The delusion.
You're so delulu if you think that what he did is at all like a bad response to what he just witnessed and what just happened to him.
My jaw was just dropped.
My goodness.
Oh, I'm blown away. OP goes on to say, I have never admitted to taking his stuff. To begin with, I was afraid he might call the cops. Then I didn't want to give her ammunition in case she wanted a divorce. Now I just don't care. I told her that her cheating was the reason her boyfriend is getting divorced and that I hope his ex takes everything.
Period.
I'm still not living at home. I have my own apartment and I'm filing for divorce. Now that I know how she feels, it is kind of a slap in the face that she is blaming me for his divorce. So, am I the asshole for robbing my wife's affair partner?
Absolutely not.
No.
No, you could have done so much worse.
I would have took the clothes and slashed a couple of tires.
Literally. Why is she so worried about the guy that she like, why does it matter to you? Like, why?
Also, for her to know all that information, you're still in contact?
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, you guys are still like chatting and like, oh, he's like venting to you about how horrible his life is because you guys cheated and had an affair.
So
zero sympathy.
No sympathy.
I'm sorry, I'm like, you're preaching to the wrong choir here. Like, I don't care.
Ma'am, go cry a river somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like maybe to him.
Yeah.
You guys are both getting divorced now. Now you can rekindle your little love affair.
Yeah.
And be done.
Yeah.
Because you are so delusional. And the thing is, it's like you're trying to go to marriage counseling and work through this with your partner. You should be more concerned about his feelings.
It doesn't really sound like she's sorry at all.
No.
It just kind of sounds like she's still trying to justify what she did and try to like make her partner empathize with the situation. And
she doesn't need to.
In high school, my mom said she was going to drop me off a snack at the main office because I had to stay after school for a choir performance. And I lived so far away that it didn't make sense, I guess, for my parents to come pick me up and then take me back a couple hours later. So they were just going to leave me there, even though all the rest of the kids were going home. But that was fine. And on my lunch break, I went down to the main office and I was like, oh boy, going to get my snack. And I say, hi, my mom left something here for me. And the front desk lady went, oh yeah, she did. And then she hands me, I kid you not, the biggest cucumber I've ever seen in my life, and it wasn't wrapped, it wasn't chopped or anything. It was just like a giant cucumber. I was like, oh great, my mom has never met a high schooler once in her life. She brought me a cucumber. I ate a banana one time in high school, and this girl walked up to me while I was eating it, and she was like, are you eating a banana in the high school? Do you have any idea what people will think? And I said, I mean, yeah, but like people will just make fun of me behind my back. We don't go to that kind of high school. Nobody's gonna come up to my face and make a scene about it. And she literally said, I will. And then she made such a horrendous scene that I never ate a banana at school again. So I immediately tucked away this cucumber in my backpack because I was horrified and I didn't want anybody to see it. And now I'm that girl going to school with a cucumber in her backpack. And when school let out, I didn't even eat it then because there are still too many kids hanging around after class doing sports and stuff. And around 4:30, the school was pretty much empty and I felt like I was safe. So I washed the cucumber in a high school bathroom, which I think just made it dirtier. And then I was in the hallway between the bathroom and the entrance to our school theater, and I just sat down crisscross applesauce, and I just go to town on this cucumber because I was so hungry. And at that exact moment, our school's top tenor walked around the corner, and we made really awkward eye contact for a minute, and he was just like, girl, I do it all the time. Don't even be embarrassed. And I was like, really? And he said, oh yeah, I do it every day if I could. And I was like, oh, that makes me feel so much better. And he went, yeah, don't worry about it. And then he walked away, and I was like, wait. In defense of my mom, I will say at the end of the night, the first thing I said when I saw her was, a cucumber, really? And she said, well, the problem was I needed something that couldn't be refrigerated for the rest of the day, and I needed something that came pre-wrapped, and I didn't want to get you anything that would make your throat flummy because you were going to be singing, and I knew you were going to want something light because you were going to be on stage, and I was in the produce section, and I was like, cucumber! And that's how she decided to drop off a cucumber at the main office for me. I absolutely infuriated a man on a road trip because I needed to pee and I needed food. So I stopped off at this cute little restaurant. A couple was walking in front of me. The boyfriend held the door for us. The girl booked it to the bathroom. She was in full dance mode in the back of the line. And the line was really long because this restaurant didn't have bathrooms with stalls. It just had two tiny little private bathrooms. For context, just a tiniest little cube of a room with a single toilet, a single sink, and one was marked for women, one was marked for men. And I was standing in the back of this line and I was like, well, this is utterly ridiculous because we are all waiting for the women's restroom. There's nobody using the men's restroom. There's no line for it. So I walked out of the line, I went and I opened the door to the men's restroom, and then I looked back at this poor dancing girl at the back of the line, and I said, you know, you look like you really got it. Do you just wanna? And she nodded yes, and she ran into the men's bathroom. Then an angry man spawned out of nowhere, not the boyfriend. I didn't even see him at first. I just heard him yell into my ear, but that's the men's room. And I don't know why my PTSD wasn't triggered. It just all happened so fast. And also the man had the energy of like an angry cartoon leprechaun. So I wasn't afraid. And I tried to calmly explain to him, I know, I'm sorry. The line for the ladies' room was just so long and there was no line for this bathroom. And he said, I was in line. And I said, no, you weren't. If you were in line, you would be in there. You're in line now behind me. And he said, but you're a woman. And I was like, disrespectfully, sir, you don't know what I've got. And honestly, if he had been nice and walked up and gotten in line behind me, I would have said, oh, this is technically marked off for the men. You are a man. Would you like to go in front of me? But I didn't like his tone when he said the word woman. So I was like, I'm just going to stand my ground and see what happens. At this point, there was some poor teenager who worked at the restaurant walking past us. And the man reached over and grabbed their arm hard. And I was like, whoa, first of all, that is not the target demographic if you want to find someone who's going to agree with you right now. Second of all, you can't just grab people like that. But he leaned into this poor kid's face and he pointed at the men's bathroom and he said, there's a woman in there right now. And the boy just looked at him and he said, so those are both private bathrooms. They're exactly the same. They can use whatever one they want. People do it all the time. And then he shrugged the guy off and went back to collecting trays. And the guy just turned towards me even more frustrated and he said, didn't anybody teach you that you're not allowed to go into men's restrooms? And I said, genuinely? No. I've been pulling this shit my whole life. You're the first person to ever get mad at me for it. I've heard about people like you on the news, but this is my first time meeting one in the wild. And at that point, the girl came out of the bathroom and I ran in and I locked the door. When I walked out of the bathroom, the man had disappeared and I thought, well, that's weird because apparently using this bathroom was really important to him 3 minutes ago. And I went and I got my food, and apparently what had happened was in order to make some kind of a point, he went and he got in line for the ladies' room, and out of spite, he waited an extra long time because when I was leaving with my takeout, I saw him walking out of the women's restroom and he went like this at me. I was like, Pookie, nobody cares. You're being so weird right now.
My wife and I, 34, have 3 children, ages 7, 4, and a 9-month-old. I work a very demanding job in the medical field and work for many hours, but my wife not so much, although she does have night shifts often. We just got a new babysitter a few months ago after 2 years of having our old one because they had to move to college. But our new babysitter is only 16 and has been babysitting one of my coworkers' children for a while, and so I trust him. A few nights ago, my wife and I were both working nights, and I saw on the camera that our babysitter was asleep on the couch and the baby had woken up. Our baby was crying for almost 30 minutes while she slept, and that bothered me, so without talking to my wife when I got home, the next morning I told my babysitter maybe she could set some alarms while she slept. Am I wrong for asking our babysitter to set alarms when she's sleeping? So again, the babysitter was sleeping on the couch and our baby was crying for 30 minutes while she slept, and that bothered me. So the next morning, I asked her if she would mind setting alarms throughout the night to make sure she's awake since the baby monitor never woke her up. And I let her know it was not okay for her to leave the baby crying like that. I guess it hurt the kid's feelings because she mentioned it to my wife, and my wife is really upset with me, saying she's only 16 and that what I was asking for is very unreasonable and that this has never happened before. So again, I'm being unfair and I should have talked to her first because this could have been a learning experience. She also said I was completely out of line as well. I'm not really worried about a learning experience, but I am worried about the fact that my children are cared for properly. So, am I wrong?